The Arizona Cardinals went out on a massive limb and they went swinging, taking Walter Nolen, who a lot of people passed on because of character concerns. Not even the play on the field, character concerns. This guy has Hall of Fame talent in my eyes. The potential is definitely there. If you guys watched my reaction to him getting drafted here, it wasn't positive. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. I was not enthusiastic. I like the prospect. I like the ceiling. It's just that floor is very low. It is insanely low, a matter of fact. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, though, because obviously he's an Arizona Cardinal. He's on my favorite team. Why would I not give him the benefit of the doubt? But I'm also not stupid enough to not recognize there are flaws in his game, and we need to see those corrected. But if anybody's going to get those out of him, it's going to be Nick Rallis, who is great at elevating talent, as we have seen through the past 2 seasons, and Jonathan Gannon. I think they go hand in hand. I think they're excellent, and he has a Hall of Fame ceiling. There's traits that you love about him. There's traits that need to be improved. There's not a lot of traits that you hate, and if those character concerns are not a problem, you're in a good spot, and you like what you have with the product on the field. He's very young, very talented, and he can come in here and transform this Cardinals defense and be a tenured, decade-long Hall of Fame kind of guy. That's the kind of potential he has, but he also has a really low floor, like we said. So you have to be wary of both. And I don't think he's even going to fall into the terms of average. He's either going to be a Hall of Fame bona fide stud, or he's just going to flat out not pan out and just fall out of the league. We're going to find out very soon, though. And if you guys are new to the channel and end up enjoying today's video, consider hitting that subscribe button. I post Arizona Cardinals and NFL-related content. If you're a fan of either of those, perfect channel for you. And also drop your consensus on Walter Nolen down below. My TV turned off. Give me a second. But drop your opinions on him. Do you like the pick? Do you hate it? Before I give you guys my overall opinions. But let's go ahead and dive right into this thing. We got a lot to talk about. First things first, we're going to go ahead and dive into his character concerns. This is something a lot of people have complained about. Some people have talked about his motor as well, which is just not true whatsoever. You turn on the tape, that is BS. So it leads me to honestly believe that some of these flaws and his character issues might not be insanely true. Maybe they are. Who knows? But let's go ahead and dive into these. These are some of the things I found online. There was a situation at Ole Miss during the 2024 season that may have raised some eyebrows. Nolen appeared to suffer a lower body injury late in the first half of the Rebels game against Oklahoma on October 26, and then he sat out in the second half. Speaking to reporters after the game, Mississippi head coach Lane Kiffin offered a cryptic response when asked if there was any concern about Nolen's health going forward. Said, "I don't know. He wasn't able to go back in. I actually thought he was going to go back in, and he decided that he could not go back," Kiffin said. The Athletic noted that the interview process will be crucial to Nolen's final grade because he played at 6 different programs in the past 7 years, dating back to his time in high school. According to Fowler, some scouting reports for Nolen mentioned he has a history of walking off the practice field mid-session due to frustration. If that is true, that is a massive problem because that's not even character issues at that point. That's just not being able to control your ego and your temper. You can't have that in the NFL. You can't afford it. It is just unacceptable behavior from a professional athlete. You can't do that. Hopefully that gets cleaned up in the NFL if that is true. Some teams don't seem all that concerned about any potential issues. One NFC executive told Fowler they were fine with Nolen's interviews. Was that the Cardinals? I don't know. This is pre-draft. We're not sure. Another personal executive in the league told Fowler that Nolen is someone who is searching for solutions because he's still young as a 21-year-old. Now, that is crucial. He is very young, but there's no excuses. You got to learn quick in this league. I think he will. I think this is the right regime. This is a very mature system. We have a built foundation. The Arizona Cardinals have a built foundation. How often are we able to say that? Not many, but we finally have that regime, and I think he's actually going to be able to come in here and learn and mature. He has Calais Campbell to learn behind. He has Dalvin Tomlinson to learn behind. There's a lot of veterans, Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols, for example. You guys might not be high on them, but their personal leadership is huge to this team. They're going to be able to take him under the wing, and he's going to learn. I love that for him, and I think he is going to come into his own. I think the character flaws are going to phase out. He's going to mature, and we've heard this in the past. Some guys have corrected it, some guys haven't. Walter Nolen has a chance to right his wrongs, and he also is in a position where he's acknowledging this, which is nice, because if you're not acknowledging it, that is step 1 of being a problem. Walter Nolen was asked about how he feels about these character concerns. He said, "I don't feel any type of way now," Nolen said when asked about what he thought about this. He said, "Now it's just time for me to go out and show everybody that they're wrong and just help put the Cardinals back in a better situation. Get back in the playoffs and make a run. The Cardinals took a chance on me, and I'm blessed for that." He added, "I can't wait to get there. I love this response. This is probably one of the best responses you could have given. He said, I don't really feel a type of way. I just want to go on the field and prove what I'm capable of. Hopefully those character concerns don't come back in practice. There's nothing to worry about in that aspect. And he said the Cardinals took a chance on me. I want to win games, help us get back to the playoffs. That's all that matters at this point. Get us to the playoffs, let the on-field performance speak for itself, and right the wrongs where you have to right the wrongs. These executives, these reporters, they do not matter. What matters is what happens on that field, how you carry yourself off of it as well. Do what you got to do, handle business, and we're going to be in a good spot. Walter Nolen has a chance to right them. Now let's go ahead and dive into his on-play field and what I like and what I don't like. The play on the field is exceptional. There are things that need to be cleaned up. Jonathan Gannon even mentioned it, pad level for example, but there's a lot to love, and we're going to dive into that right now. I'm not giving you guys a super detailed breakdown, but if you watch film, his motor is amazing. I don't know what people were talking about pre-draft of Walter Nolen's motor just being trash. I don't see that. Every time you turn on Ole Miss tape, he is going 1,000 miles an hour. He's bull rushing. He's doing everything he has to do and everything he's asked. I don't understand that one. The motor always checked out to me when watching his tape. Then on top of that, this guy can rush the passer interior. Not a lot of guys can do that. Walter Nolen, he can absolutely do it, and that is a very rare trait. He has Hall of Fame traits in my eyes, and if he can maximize those in the NFL, he's going to be an absolute freak. He also has the size and the strength. You can't teach this one. Size and strength matter in this league as an interior lineman. He has both of those. This guy is a very special prospect, and he is already very talented at 21 years old. What is going to happen when he's 24 years old, learning under one of the best defensive tackles ever in Calais Campbell? It's going to get scary. I like what we have in here. There's a lot to love. But there's also some things that need to be cleaned up, and you have to acknowledge those. You have to get better. You're not the perfect prospect. He knows that. He even addressed it himself when talking to Jonathan Gannon on the phone. That pad level, standing up, getting out of his stance, and losing that pad level and the leverage is something that needs to be addressed. If he stands up and you're getting pushed upright, that is a problem. If you lose your pad level, if you lose your leverage, you're not going to win reps. That has to be cleaned up, and I think it's going to happen. I think he's going to understand that. He's going to learn it. He already acknowledged it. Next step is get better at it. That is something that has to happen. Also, these aren't even things that I think really matter. Shorter arms. That is what people at the combine are obsessed with. Shorter arms for a defensive tackle, I guess. It doesn't really matter to me. Sometimes it matters because you can't get your hands on their pads, but I don't think it's going to be a worry for Walter Nolen. Turn on the tape. It wasn't a problem at Ole Miss. Then you have the character issues as well, which date back to like 2022, I would say, and 2024 is where it resurfaced because that was the year he was getting drafted, and I don't really think it matters. Honestly, Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort would not have been taking a chance if they were not comfortable with the character issues and the concerns going forward. If they thought it was a big deal, they would have passed on him. That is something and has been a staple point going into this entire regime. If they have character issues, they're not a Monty Ossenfort guy. Walter Nolen clearly checked every single box they needed for him to take at 16, and they deemed it not an issue. This is not a problem. Walter Nolen was one of their guys. They selected him at pick 16, and they didn't think twice. They seemed excited to get him in the building, so that is not a con in my eyes until it is an actual problem. When it becomes a problem, then we'll discuss it. But as of right now, we have seen nothing to dictate it and nothing to deter me from thinking that he can maximize his potential. Now, is that going to happen? Is there going to be character concerns in the NFL? I hope not. I can't predict that. That is up to Walter Nolen. If Walter Nolen wants to have character issues in the NFL, that's on him. That's going to hurt his bag. I think he's going to mature. I think he's going to clean it up, and we're going to be in a good spot. And Walter Nolen has the chance to get to that Hall of Fame ceiling, so we'll see what he does. We'll see if he maximizes that. I can't predict that. Going forward, what happens in his career is dictated by him and how good he wants to be. He has the potential to be great. Let's see what happens. Taking a look at the draft, here it is. This is where we took Walter Nolen. I'll tell you guys some of the prospects that flew off that I absolutely loved. You have Kelvin Banks at 9. That is insanely high for where I thought he was going to go. Mykel Williams at 11 to San Francisco. That does suck a little bit. Then Mason Graham at 5, that was very unrealistic. We were never going to get him. But outside of that, I'm comfortable with everybody else who went in front of us. We had a lot of options. Ibuka, definitely weren't taking him as high as 16. That just wasn't happening. Derek Harmon going 21 was a little insane as well. I think Jahdae Barron is a really good prospect. He's going to thrive in Denver. Then you guys have people in the back end of the draft where Malachi Starks at 27. I think that is an absolute steal. Josh Simmons at 32. If we could have dabbled in the first round again, would have been exceptional. But we got Will Johnson in the second round. That's crazy. But nobody in the first round am I taking with how the board fell. Kelvin Banks, Michael Williams, they both went. Outside of that, Walter Nolen and Will Johnson are probably the two guys, and Derek Harmon, of course, that I would have had up for debate right here. The Cardinals deemed Walter Nolen one of those prospects that you have to take and you have to be satisfied. He could be the best player in this draft genuinely. With the talent he has, easily could be the best. Now, if he gets to that, again, like I said, that's up to him. But where we were picking and how the board fell, I think it was the right selection. Him and Derek Harmon are neck and neck. I think Derek Harmon has a high ceiling too, but his floor is not as low. I think he can get to the quarterback as well, but Walter Nolen could be super disruptive. I mocked him to the Cardinals as well. It's just a tough one, man. I think it was the right selection and obviously a scheme fit, and honestly, he could be a Hall of Famer. Let's just see what happens. A lot of people are hating on this pick, but I've grown into it, and I absolutely love it. You guys let me know down in the comment section below how you guys are feeling about it. If you love it, if you hate it, what do you guys grade it? A+ to F on a scale. And also, if you guys enjoyed today's video, consider hitting that subscribe button. I post Arizona Cardinals and NFL-related content. So if you're a fan of either of those, this is the perfect channel for you. But like I said, that is all I got for today's video. Hopefully, you guys did enjoy. It's been your boy Mythic. Peace out.